here's the great thing about Facebook is that you all can catch this on the replay. Hopefully some of you guys are going to catch this live right now, because I've got an awesome about 15 or 20 minutes that I'm going to spend with my great friend, Amanda. She lives down in Tennessee, and she's a physical therapist, has an amazing business with her awesome husband down in Tennessee, like I mentioned, and she is just a wealth of knowledge. And I just thought it'd be really exciting just to hear someone else's perspective about the power of getting a DNA test done. And a lot of you guys know my story with breast implant illness, and just finding out that I had the MTHFR gene was something huge, just to help me in my journey. And in fact, I just got off of a phone call with someone who, again, we suspect may have this gene, and she's, just been dealing with some things. And so knowledge is power, you guys. And I just think it's so awesome and incredible that we can have access to an amazing health and fitness DNA report that literally can help you know what foods to eat, what foods not to eat, what sensitivities that you have, maybe what nutrients you might be deficient in, and just really set yourself up for success. And my great friend Debbie, who's an RN, she always talks about how the DNA report is like the owner's manual for your body. I mean, think about it. On your car, if something, a light goes on or you have some issues, you pull out your owner's manual and it helps you. Well, doesn't it just make sense that we have an owner's manual for our body? So I'm excited. I'm going to go ahead and bring on my amazing guest who just got back from the beach. So what a rock star for taking a break and getting on here with us tonight. But Amanda, just tell us a little bit about who you are, and just, anything that's on your heart to kick this off.
Okay. Well, you started it off. I'm Amanda. I live outside of Memphis, Tennessee. My husband and I are both physical therapists, and we have a practice, Peak Potential Physiotherapy and Wellness. And we kind of made this switch. You see like this wellness kind of tagged onto the end, because as we were practicing, we've both been physical therapists for over 15 years. And as we practiced, we realized that there were some missing pieces when it came to our clients. And we realized that we weren't getting them all the way where they wanted to be. We could, if somebody came with back pain, we could fix their back pain and send them on their way. If somebody had knee surgery, we could rehab that knee and get them moving. But we weren't helping them find a place of optimal health. So I really dove into, at that point, nutrition and health coaching. I became a certified nutrition specialist. And to be very honest, a lot of that was powered by passion of my own personal health journey. And I think a lot of healthcare practitioners can relate to that when I found myself, as a physical therapist, I was a personal trainer at one time. I thought that if I exercised, like, if I ran, if I lifted the weights, if I did all the things, that I was healthy. And I didn't realize that there was all these other pieces to the puzzle that I was completely missing the boat on. And that showed up in my life. On the outside, you totally would have thought I was completely healthy. But on the inside, I wasn't. And after a very long journey with lots of physicians, with some conventional medicine, with some specialists, with some functional medicine practitioners, some holistic healthcare, I found that I had an autoimmune disease, that I had a lot of inflammation, that I had digestive issues, and kind of this long list of things. And part of that journey for me was finding out that there were things in my DNA that were leading me down that path, and I had no idea. There were things that I could have done along the way that maybe could have led me differently. But also knowing where I was genetically allowed me to heal in those areas. It allowed me to do the right type of exercise for my body, supplement with the nutrients that my body needed. Because for a long time, I took supplements, I took multivitamins and things, but I took the same thing as my husband. And, that doesn't even make sense that our bodies would need the exact same thing. So for me, working with holistic healthcare practitioners, I really was able to dive into what my genetics was telling me and how I could use that information to help my body heal. And just like you, a big part of that for me was the MTHFR gene, and how that was playing into my body's ability to heal, to detoxify, to use the nutrients that I was giving it or supplementing with, and that was a big deal for me. Um, but like I said, that was all with functional medicine practitioners. So for me, when I found ID Life and the accessible DNA that anybody could order and get a readable report and have support through coaches to help them figure out what all that meant, I was so excited, because to be honest, my journey was really long, and expensive, to be very honest, when it came to genetic testing through healthcare practitioners. So I was so excited to be able to have an accessible way to help my friends and my family and my clients figure out this same information for themselves.
I just had a huge light bulb go off when you just said that. And first of all, you're just adorable. And I love your energy. You're so awesome, Amanda. And, just your keyword accessible, because I literally, as you were sharing, I was going back like with my same journey, very expensive, doctor after doctor, trying to figure out what was causing all of my health issues. And, you're so right. Like it's so powerful, that we can have this type of test, and then like you said, be able to share it with friends and family who might be going through similar issues, just trying to get some answers. And I know when I got tested for the MTHFR, this was before ID Life, I paid my family doctor, I mean, a very expensive amount of money, because I had a high deductible insurance, so I had to pay that out of pocket. And I paid more to have one gene tested than what our entire DNA kit here costs. So I just think that's such a great point that you bring up. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for your transparency, just with your own personal health journey, and I absolutely love that. So, as far as like your clients, I know you kind of touched on this a little bit, but and I don't know if maybe you have even like a specific story. I mean, don't name any names or anything, but maybe just kind of just share for a minute or two about how this has helped your clients at your practice.
Mhm. Well, when it comes specifically for physical therapy clients, so most of the physical therapy clients are middle age, and they're coming to us with aches and pains and discomfort. There are things that they want to be able to do. They want to keep, playing tennis and running their marathons and doing all the things. Like we're in a generation where we're not slowing down, anytime soon. Like we're plowing through for decades ahead. So, people come to us with aches and pains, and they just want to get back to life, and they want to get back to 100%. And, they want to thrive, not just survive. And so, I can think of, I personally work more with women. So all my examples are women. But, I can think of one particular lady who was having a lot of knee pain. She was running, she enjoyed running. She was gaining weight, having the knee trouble, kind of just feeling poorly all around. And when we looked at her DNA test, we found several things that she was doing that she thought were healthy, like the number of miles that she ran. So like she was gaining weight, so she would run more. Well, it turns out that like the more she ran, the more weight she was going to gain, because her genetically, her body wasn't built for that. She really needed to be incorporating strength training to put muscle back into her body, not do all the running. Now she could still, run for fun, but not this, she was killing her knees and, just continuing to gain weight because she was working against her body instead of with it. She was also found that she had she was prone to a lot of inflammation. So using nutritional strategies to help counteract her tendency towards inflammation, which was affecting her knee pain quite a bit. And, just being able to use what we learned from her DNA to not just, my husband is an amazing orthopedic sports therapist. He's amazing. and he could completely fix her knees and send her on her way. The problem would be that 6 months later, she'd probably be back because we never got to the root cause of the problem. And that for her being the fact that she was gaining weight, which was putting more pressure on her knees, and the fact that she had inflammation. And the DNA helped us get to the root cause of the problem to be able to start that long-term healing process. So that once Trevor fixed her knees, you know, she was able to get to that optimal health and stay that way.
So good. That is so powerful. I mean, that's a great story. And you know, to your point, like that's what's powerful about this DNA test is that it's going to give you specific food recommendations, like you said, to help with the inflammation, you know, how many grams of, added sugars you want to stay within, what types of carbs are best for you. So that is so great. Thank you so much for sharing that story, Amanda. And you know, you mentioned something earlier about how it just doesn't make sense that you would take the same supplements as your husband. And yet, I know a lot of us for many years what we did because we didn't know any better. And now there is a better way. There's a way to get supplements that are specific to you. And that's one of the great things that we offer here is an amazing online tool that factors in people's medications, medical history, lifestyle choices, and then spits out what supplements are best for them, and then partners that as well with the DNA test. So tell us just a little bit about how much of a game changer that has been for you guys, maybe for your clients, just, you know, having the accessibility to the personalized vitamin platform that we offer here.
Well, if I could go back a second to my story and kind of that lengthy process of all the different doctors and medical practitioners I worked with, a big part of that process for me was supplements. A lot of people aren't familiar with supplements. Maybe they just take a one a day and that's kind of as far as they've ever gotten. But supplements were a big part of my routine because so much of it was suggested over the years from healthcare practitioners. And what really blew me away, and this was like when I was like sold on ID Life, was that probably 3 or 4 years working with a functional medicine practitioner, we had finally come to this kind of perfect short list of supplements that, you know, these are the things that are really making a difference. You know, I tried a lot of things that didn't work, spent a lot of half-used pill bottles in the cabinet, and we came to this kind of list of these are the things that are making an impact, that are healing me, that I need to continue. And so when I first took the ID Life assessment, and the list that came back to me, and I always tell people the list that you get after you fill out the health assessment is your safe and effective list. These are the things that are safe for you and that they would be effective for you. It doesn't ever mean you have to take all these things, you know, because some people are like scared by this long list. But I will say when I took that assessment for the first time, the list that it came out for me was identical to the list that I had after years of working with a practitioner decided was the best prescription of supplements for me. And I was like, this is the real deal.
Wow, I'd never heard that story, Amanda. That's amazing. And you know, again, so much of my journey, I mean, I can totally relate to just going to the doctor, all the different supplements, trying all these different things. And then again, coming here and it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm not so overwhelmed now with what I should be taking. And that is so stinking good. So thank you.
And it goes back to the accessible thing.
Yeah.
Because what I chose to do, and you know, sometimes the sacrifices that I made financially in order to be able to seek out, you know, that type of healthcare, because it's generally not covered by insurance. That's not accessible to everyone, and that's not an option for everyone. Not everyone's town has, you know, practitioners that are going to help them find natural, holistic options.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah,
so, you know, it really goes back to that, you know, really being accessible to people, having options to save money. You know, I know that when I work with clients, sometimes we come up with this, you know, safe and effective list, you know, this is what's going to help your body heal. And sometimes there's kind of a price tag shock because maybe they've only taken the 1-a-day multivitamin from Costco.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's going to be a whole lot different than a high quality, um, you know, supplement program. It is going to be very different. I mean, the reality is you get what you pay for.
Right.
But there are ways to save money. And people get so excited when they're like, wow, I could, do this and this and save 20% every single month
Mhm.
on these things. Because that was never an option that my healthcare practitioners gave me.
Amen to that. Gosh, it's so good. Well, and two, I think it's just important. Like, we need to be advocates for our own bodies, right? And be advocates for our own health. And, I think that's another great thing about the DNA report is that it gives you a tool in order to better advocate for yourself. So I love that. All right. So as we kind of wind down here, and this has been so great. And so again, if you're catching this live, and I forgot to say this at the beginning, and I apologize, but if you're joining us now, right now live, make sure you shout out where you're joining us from. Make sure you share just your favorite part that Amanda has shared so far. If you're catching the replay, let us know that too. But, Amanda, I know that are just so passionate about what you and your husband do. And, I forgot to mention this, Amanda and Trevor are published authors. They have an incredible book. In fact, the next time you talk, I'm going to try to go into my library and grab it so I can hold it up. I want to show it to everybody because you seriously may want to go check this out and order this book. But how has offering this, the DNA test, the personalized nutrition, the clean products. I know that you've partnered this, you've brought this now into your business, and just kind of, share from the heart a little bit about what that means to you guys, and just bringing in this as something, alongside of your business.
From a personal fulfillment and passion perspective, it I just get really excited to be able to help people on this level because it wasn't previously accessible. It wasn't previously something that we could offer, and it's really helping people take their health, like you said, into their own hands, take control, because a lot of times people come to us really feeling out of control, like their body's working against them. And the DNA test allows us to figure out how to work with our body instead of against it. And it gives us another tool to be able to help people go to that next level. Um, you know, Financially, it has been beneficial for our business because partnering with ID Life allows us to have an additional products and services that we can offer our clients. And when people know, like, and trust us, they would much rather come buy something that we recommend than wander through the aisles of the drugstore and or Amazon and try to figure out what they should buy and what they should use. Because, for me, I put these products in my body. My family uses these products, and I would never put out in our business, at our clinic, with our work family, something that I didn't use myself and I didn't firmly believe in. So there really has been benefits in terms of the transformations that we're able to see with clients, the way that they are empowered by this information. It's not a passive form of healthcare where something's being done to them. They can take control and be, actively involved in the process. There are things that they can do to make a difference. It brings a lot of hope and healing for people, to be very honest, not just in the physical sense, but psychologically, to really have something in black and white saying, this is what I need to do, and this is what is going to work for me. So I don't even know that I answered your
Yeah,
question, but
no, you did. Absolutely. Well, and I think what I loved is just like you said, we are giving people hope and we're giving them a plan. We are empowering them. So no, I think that's good. Because like you said, I mean, I think just a lot of people are overwhelmed and confused and they don't know who to trust, what to trust. And, just hearing your heart about how you feel about ID Life, especially with your background and, the education that you have and your own personal testimony and just everything that you've gone through. I think that's great for people to hear. Like, you feel so great, about this company and just, what we do. So I appreciate that. And I was digging around in my library trying to find your book, and I'm so mad I could not find it. So Amanda, will you just tell us the title? Can someone just go on Amazon and purchase this book? Because it's
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Will you just tell everyone the title of it? Maybe just a little snippet about it?
Yeah, so the book title is Heal, Optimize, Thrive, because that's really our goal, to take people through a healing journey to optimize their health and take them to a place where they can thrive for a lifetime. And so it's just kind of pieces of information. It's a lot of busting through myths about health, especially as our body ages. Because that's what we hear most often. People saying, oh, well, my back just hurts now because I'm 50, or, I'm just gaining weight now because, ever since I turned 40. And the reality is that age is just a number. And there are always things that we can do to optimize our health and live our best lives. And, God has given us these bodies to live in, and we can't show up in the world, again, especially as women, as wives, as mothers, as friends, as employers and as employees. We can't show up 100% in the world if we don't take care of this body that we've been given.
Amen. That's so good. Yeah, I just typed the title there in the comments, you guys, and so go check out her book. And I love too that you've got a special part in the book for women. For I believe it's like even like menopausal women, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
It's technically I guess the last chapter I wrote myself, separate from my husband. He wasn't allowed in that part, but it was specifically for women over 50. But
Yeah.
I turned 40 a couple months ago, and I tell you, this applies to me too.
Oh,
This is not it. There's not like 50
yeah.
some magic age.
Oh,
So
that's awesome. I love it. Yeah, it's a great book, you guys. So definitely go check that out. And then just last kind of thing, I just want to give you the last word here, just to kind of, any advice, encouragement to anyone who might be watching this and is struggling in their life, physically, financially. Just share from the heart a couple words for them, Amanda.
Okay, something that's really been on my heart lately is something that I tell a lot of my clients. Again, especially to women who kind of run themselves ragged and kind of don't have time or choose to prioritize their own health. And one of my favorite things to say is, if you listen to your body whisper, you won't have to hear it scream. And I know for me, for a long time, I ignored all the whispers because I was too busy, because I had a business, because I had small children. And then my body screamed at me and I had to pay attention. So I just want to encourage people. The DNA test is a great way to be proactive in listening to your body. And when we listen to those whispers, we can avoid hearing our body scream at us down the road.
That's so stinking good. I wish I had a microphone. I just like stop it right now. That's powerful, great advice. And goodness, thank you so much for sharing that. So again, you guys, please love on Amanda, because she took away, time from her family tonight to just share her heart, share her credibility, her wisdom, her passion, for just helping people have more direction and more hope in life. So we just, can't thank you enough for doing this tonight, Amanda. And again, go check out her book. It's absolutely amazing. Her and her husband co-wrote that together. And just thanks so much to all of you guys for being on here, whether it's live, on the replay. If you have any questions at all, just post them in the comments, and we're happy to answer those. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Amanda, and have a phenomenal week, you guys.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.